heighten the Christology or change key details about the crucifixion or the resurrection. And it's a very like deceptive type of process. In fact, John Barton in his interview with Paul Williams, he said, yeah, that Matthew does engage in some what did he say? Deceptive. I think he said deception. He said, or is dishonest of Matthew to change these details. And that's really a very big. So history, origination, canonization, like I mentioned before, then textual criticism. Then even if all those were perfect, you still have internal inconsistencies, which is a big deal. You still have contradictions. You still have, how do you even interpret the text? How do you even interpret it when you're given nothing? You're not given any tools. They said, here's Matthew, here's Luke, here's John, here's Mark. It's in Greek. It's in different it's in like almost a dead language, like hardly anyone in the world speaks Koine Greek, and you do what you want with it. There's a lot of parables, and Mark, he says he speaks only in parables. In John, he uses similitudes. In Matthew, he uses beatitudes and parables as well, and you don't know what to do with it. And even if you have some sort of interpretation, how do you know it's correct?
SubhanAllah. I mean, that's you made something really important of a point at the very beginning, and you mentioned that um, the title of this whole webinar was about like the idea that they have no doubt, like they have no doubt. I mean, they have no certainty, right? All of these things are just doubts compounded upon doubts upon things that are not authentic. So if you were to sum all this up, like if you were to actually have a conversation with a Christian, um, if you were to sum all this up, like what would be your main points to take away from what you've basically laid out before them? I mean, and
What
what's
I
like
would
the
take
whole
away.
we want them to kind of really understand from this, if they're a sincere, person.
Yeah. So what I would try to communicate with them is that basically, if so, there are different types of Christians. There are Christians who really don't consider the Bible as authoritative. I know you think it's bizarre, but Catholics, they say that the Bible is secondary, that what's important is church tradition, and there's a whole different argument that's to be used against them. And it's just as flimsy as textual transmission, this apostolic successorship. But if you're talking to a Bible believing Christian who thinks that it's the word of God and he derives his theology from it, and you show him all of those problems, where everything, so atonement, the baptism, the Trinity, the divinity of Isa alayhi salam, inerrancy, even the character of Isa alayhi salam, the details of his life, everything is dependent upon textually dubious material, then how can you go around preaching that you're sure of your salvation? If you're not sure of your text, how can you be sure of your salvation? Okay, so us as Muslims, we are sure of our text, but we don't proclaim salvation to ourselves because that's how just the world works. One guy asked me, he said, I'm not even going to mention his name. This was before when I was naive on Clubhouse and I was entertaining him. He said, can you imagine a world where, he literally asked me, he said, can you imagine a world where no one knows that they're safe? They wake up every day trying to do as much good as possible, and and they don't know if they're going to heaven or hell, but they just keep doing, charity and prayer, and they're trying to help everyone because they're not. I'm like, that would be great. That would be a utopia. That would be amazing. That's what I want, honestly, is for everyone to wake up and say, hey, what else can I do to make this world a better place? But the text is secure, and if you're securely believing in a text that says if you do A, B, and C, your salvation is secured, then that's much better than having a just a dogma that is built upon sticks, basically. And if they see all that and they still don't believe that it's something, and they still believe that it's something to be believed in, then you make dua for them, honestly. But I've encountered many individuals where at least this type of material, uh, of course, in a way that's conducive to them. You know your interlocutors, your the people you're engaging with, and what their mental capacity is. So if you package it and deliver it correctly, this should be, inshallah ta'ala, it should be permeating for anyone who believes in the Bible.
MashaAllah, Jazakallahu khairah.
Yeah.
I think we're good. I think everyone doesn't have too much. But it was extremely informative, very beneficial, and I think that this was something that we'll all be able to walk away from a little bit more knowledgeable. So I just want to thank you for your time, Brother Wissam. Inshallah, we'll be speaking soon. If you don't
Definitely.
mind, after we're done, if I could post this to my YouTube channel. No, if you do mind, then I won't. But if you
Yeah,
don't
yeah, no,
mind,
no problem, of course.
because I think this would be really beneficial to other people. I might edit it a little bit, but
Yeah, yeah, no problem.
yeah,
So I did take care to make sure all of the facts were in place to make sure that it's very fortified. So no one's gonna have any reservations about it, whether this is something agreed upon by everybody.
okay, awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, well, I don't have anything else. Thank you, everybody who came out. May Allah continue to increase us in ilm, ilm al-nafi', um, with knowledge that benefits, and may He take us to the highest levels of paradise. أقول قولي هذا استغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته
Wa alaikum assalam.